Today, we're going on a bit of a historical treasure hunt. We're going to uncover a place that has, for all intents and purposes, vanished from modern maps, Kwangdeok-myeon. Using old records and maps, we're going to piece together a picture of what this region in Gapfung County was really like before the Korean War changed absolutely everything.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to pinpoint exactly where Kwangdeok-myeon was and get a sense of its size. Then we'll take a tour of its natural landscape, its mountains and rivers. After that, we'll dive into the human landscape, the villages, the ports, and some of the incredible stories of the people who live there. And finally, we'll see how history literally redrew the map and changed this place for good. All right, first things first, before we can really explore Kwangdeok-myeon, well, we have to find it. Okay, check this out. This is an administrative map from before 1950. As you can see, Kwangdeok-myeon was tucked away in the southwestern corner of Gapfung County. It was bordered by Nammyeon to the west, Cheonggyeom-myeon up north, Sangdo-myeon to the east, and Daesung-myeon to the south. Now, to give you a sense of scale, the whole area was about 15.4 square miles. That's actually pretty close to the size of Princeton, New Jersey. So, while it wasn't some huge region, it was definitely packed with its own unique features. Okay, so now that we know where it is, let's zoom in a little closer and look at the physical terrain that really shaped daily life for the people who lived there. This map really shows you the lay of the land. Kwangdeok-myeon wasn't a place of dramatic, towering peaks. Think more like rolling hills and low-lying mountains. But just as important were the waterways, all the streams and rivers that crisscrossed the region, flowing down to the Han River estuary and out to the Yellow Sea. These mountains were so much more than just landmarks. They were deeply woven into the area's history and culture. Mount Yeobyong, for instance, had a path that a Goryeo dynasty king used for hunting trips. Mount Jeonsewa was his royal resting spot. And Mount Boso, well, that was the site of the ancient Gyeongkyeon Temple. Now, remember that name, Gyeongcheon Temple, because it's going to become very, very important a little later on. And if the mountains were the bones of the region, the waterways were its arteries. The Hwanggang and Eungpo streams acted as natural administrative borders. Others, like the Dangdu-po stream, were absolutely vital for local industry, in this case, fishing. And the Gimsong stream was a key inland route, connecting the interior of the region to the bigger ports out on the coast. All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've seen the land. Now let's see how people actually organized themselves on it, from the villages they called home to the industries that kept their communities going. The entire Myeon, which is sort of like a township, was divided into 5 main villages. These were called ri. As you can see, they were Gochuk-ri, Jungri-ri, Kwandek-ri, Sabun-ri, and Hwanggang-ri. And then each of those was broken down even further into smaller neighborhoods called dong. Now this is where the population distribution tells a really interesting story. With 229 households, Hwanggang-ri was by far the largest village. And that makes total sense, right? It was home to the region's main port. But on the flip side, you have Kwangdeok-ri, which was a quieter, more agricultural village, and it was the smallest. And the local economy was actually surprisingly diverse. At Hwanggang-po Port, fishing was everything. Almost every single household was involved in it. But just a little bit inland, in Gochuk-ri, there was actually a gold mine that operated for 4 years. And Dangdu-po was another key fishing port, with a regular ferry that connected the whole region to major hubs like Incheon. But amidst all this everyday hustle and bustle, one small, pretty unassuming inlet called Batetmol was the setting for a truly remarkable event, a piece of history that connects this tiny village to a national treasure. So during the Japanese occupation, the magnificent 10-story stone pagoda of Gyeongcheon Temple, the same temple near Mount Buso, was taken apart. According to records, it was right here at the tiny port of Batetmol that the pieces were secretly loaded onto boats and smuggled to Japan. It's a tragic story that happened to a lot of cultural treasures during that time. This map basically traces the getaway route they probably took. The smugglers would have used the Gyeomsang stream, which you could navigate at high tide, to move the heavy stone pieces from near the temple site all the way down to the coast. From there, they could be loaded onto bigger ships and sent away. So you have this entire living landscape with its villages, ports, and stories, and it was all fundamentally and permanently changed by the Korean War and the division of the country that followed. After the area fell under North Korean control, a series of administrative shakeups completely reshaped the region.
the original 5 villages were all restructured. Gocheok-ri was renamed, and, most dramatically, the administrative name of Junglian-ri was completely abolished, just wiped from the map as an official place. And looking at these two maps side by side really brings the impact of these changes home. On the left, that's the Kwangdeok-myeon we've been exploring. On the right, that's the post-war reality. New names, new boundaries, lost places. It is just a stark, visual reminder of how political history doesn't just reshape lines on a map, it reshapes the very identity of a place. You know, our journey through the records of Kwangdeok-myeon reveals a place that's almost frozen in time, preserved only in old documents and in memory. And it really leaves us with a final question to think about. When a place is physically gone from the map but its story remains, what does it even mean for it to exist?